I mean, it's good to still look professional or whatever, but you don't have to be perfect to start. Just start right now and keep going, because I remember I kept trying to make things perfect and find the right time to even go into the Ghana market, right? The time that I actually got to go, I didn't think was possible, because one year I was like, I'm going, right? And then I got pregnant and I was like, oh Lord. And I remember my doctor saying, oh, you can't go because mosquitoes and stuff. But that was the year I was like, I have to go. I put this thing off like 2-3 years now. No, nothing is stopping me. My baby is going to be okay. I'm going.
Hello and welcome, all you beautiful people, to the next episode of the Beauty and the Brand podcast. I have a very special guest today, Irene Dele. She is a beauty entrepreneur, professional chef, and mom of 3 with a degree in political science and sociology from the College of William and Mary. She is also the founder of Fruit Art, La Belleza Makeup Artistry, and Omolewa Cosmetics, which is where she spends majority of her time. It is a line that is focused on bold and elegant makeup looks, particularly for women of color, with versatile products that deliver a red carpet ready look. And she's passionate about helping others achieve dreams through faith, through passion, through determination, as she has done. And she's also trained aspiring makeup artists and entrepreneurs worldwide, and worked with celebrities such as Vivica Fox and Jackie Appiah, featured in outlets like Elle, Black Enterprise, Food Network, and Irene's credentials are stacked. So welcome, Irene. I'm so happy to have you here. And
thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Aggie. So good to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me. And I'd love to dive right in. So tell me, you have this incredible journey. You know, you and I have worked together on and off over, I think maybe it's been like six or 7 years. It has been my honor to be able to work with you over the years and seeing you grow this incredible brand and see you grow as an entrepreneur. So tell us about this journey, from, finishing college to becoming professional chef and then a beauty entrepreneur. What inspired you to have such a diverse path?
I would say for me, it's, my hobbies, right? When I've always loved cooking. Like, I was that girl that, even in college, in my African Cultural Society and my extracurricular activities, whenever we had events, like, I would volunteer to cook for everybody. So I enjoy doing that. And also with the makeup, I had the opportunity to start wearing makeup when I was like in 8th grade, 9th grade. And the only thing I could wear was like eyeliner and lip gloss. And when I put that on every time, I just felt like cute. I felt so bomb, right? So, in high school, I would spend my money like buying department store makeup, like expensive makeup. So I've always loved makeup. I would use my products, the ones I buy on like doing fashion shows. I'll volunteer to do makeup. So it was just one of those things that these things have been, my businesses now have been a passion. So when I found out that I could make money from the things that I enjoy doing, that I can do seamlessly, I just went all in. And that's how, Omolewa and Fruit Art and, being a private chef, that's how it all started.
That's incredible. And you are obviously multi-passionate. You've started these multiple business. How do you manage these multiple business and being a mom of 3?
It's wild. It's tough. But I'm so grateful, I guess, over the years, I've been able to learn how to, manage my time. I mean, it's never perfect. And I've also brought in, team. I have a team, right? So I try to, delegate projects and everything. So right now, it's better than before, but they also say that new level, new devils, right? So there's still a lot to do.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that, in order to Are you able to share sort of a major milestone that you've been able to reach, numbers wise with your business?
Yes. So I guess over you, I know that in the past when I first started my business, I focused more on wholesale in the Ghana and the Nigerian market, and it was like 2018. That's actually when I met you, and I shifted, right? I shifted my focus to like e-commerce and actually learning the US market. And I think over the years since like 2020 and 2019, 2020, I've seen like significant growth of like between 115% to like 125%. And then also repeat customers have also been really great for the Omolewa Cosmetic brand. It allows me to know that all the time that I spent in developing product creation was not a waste, and the customers are enjoying. So repeat customers has also been really good for the Omolewa brand.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that right now is just because I want to clarify. So essentially, you've grown anywhere between 100 and 125% year over year, which is pretty amazing because that's hard to sustain. And you've been in business how long now?
For Omolewa, I've been in business for about 10 years, but the first 5 years was a whole different market, right? And then the second, so sometimes like, okay, is it 5 years or is it overall 10 years? But I would say 10 years.
Yeah. So from starting fresh in the US market, it's been 5 years, total 10. And what I'm hearing you say, and I wanted to put a pin in this for our audience, is that in order to be able to be a great parent, a present parent, to be able to have these multiple businesses, you've had to bring on team members to support that growth. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. It's correct. I think it was one of those things that you also pushed me to do. You saw that I was struggling. And you're like, Irene, you need to hire, you need to bring on a team. So, right now I have, I think I have a team of um, 5 to 6 that are helping me, with my other brands and also with Omolewa Cosmetics in particular. So it allows me to focus on actually being a CEO for the business, and also it allows me to focus on the stuff that I actually enjoy, and that is like testing our product, um, you know, um, having a conversation, taking the time to have conversations and going back and forth with my manufacturers, and, just looking at the brand as a whole and making it a better brand, each and every day.
I love that. I'm so happy to hear that, you're able to continue to grow this brand, have the support that you need, have the right people in the right, in the right roles. So tell me more about Omolewa. This is such a beautiful name, and I know what it means, but I want you to share it with the audience. So it has also deep cultural significance. So can you share a little bit more about the name and how it reflects the brand's mission?
Sure. So Omolewa means a beautiful child, a child with beauty. So in my culture, in Yoruba culture, when a child is born, you don't just get first, middle, and last name. You get your first, middle, and so many other middle names where you have uncles and aunties contribute, and give you more names. But one of the extra middle names that my dad gave me was Omolewa. And it means like, beautiful child, a child with beauty, being beautiful inside and out, just everything beautiful. So for a long time, my dad was the only person that called me by that name. And every time he says Omolewa, right, my head will just automatically just swell. I felt that I had done something, really, really great. Like it was a proud moment, it made me feel like, like so beautiful. Like, so it was just one of those names. Sometimes he would even go further and say, "Oh, my Lord, precious," and he still does that.
Oh, and you're the youngest too, I
And
remember.
I am the youngest. So, it just always felt great hearing that. But I never really shared it with a lot of people because everybody would call me by either Irene, TT, or like, my other names. So when I first started Omolewa Cosmetics, I remember like when I was in college, I did a program in Italy. So like I was so fascinated with everything Italian, like just so when I first started my business, my makeup artistry, I actually called it like La Bellezza. Which means beautiful in Italian, right? And for a long time, I had that name running. And I remember I spoke with a friend. He was like, I feel like your brand should be more like Afrocentric, like give it, your vibes. Like, what is La Belleza? So I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, one of my middle names is Omolewa. She was like, what does that mean? I was like, this. She was like, that should be your brand name. And I was like, you're right. And since then, I've connected with so many women who love the name, the ones who don't even know how to pronounce it. They're like, I am Omolewa, beautiful inside and out. And we use that motto throughout like our whole Ghana campaign, Nigeria, and even here in the US. So I just want to share that name with women to feel beautiful, not just, on the outside, but also on the inside. So Omolewa is, it's not just a makeup brand, right? It's more than that. It's just how you feel, like beautiful inside and out.
I love that so much. And I think if, for those of, just these first few minutes, I know for those of you who may not be familiar with Irene or Omolewa, you can tell just how passionate and how you're very purpose driven. And that mission is a thread throughout everything that you do, day in, day out on a year basis. So I love that. And then, okay, so when you started as a makeup artist, you uncovered challenges with products for women of color. What was the moment when you realized that, this was a real problem and you needed to create a line?
Yeah, so when I was doing makeup artistry, then Instagram wasn't a thing. So, you couldn't even learn from like other people. Like you had to take like classes with like, Mac or like, just read books and stuff like that. So I found out that, over time, like regardless of the deeper shade that I get, from the big brands, even expensive brands, like I still had to like, zhuzh the product, for it to fit to perfectly match women my skin tone and even darker, right? So sometimes I always say this, like there wasn't even anything to contour. Like I would literally have to use like a black eyeliner, right, and mix it with a few things to kind of give it that look, right? It was also
A black eyeliner in with cover up. That's insane. Okay.
to give that contour, because there wasn't any shade like that. And even if there was, they were like ashy and they were not giving like contour. So it wasn't giving that glow, that beautiful. I also found out that some of the products were also really, really, really heavy and cakey. And I have to find some things to kind of thin it out to give it that glow, natural look that I wanted. The undertones were also like, for some reason, most brands just thought that all women of color, our undertones are like red. So most of the time you might find the shade, but the undertone is like extremely red or like orange. And it just wasn't, matching. And I was just tired of like, mixing things here and there. So I decided to, look into actually starting my makeup brand. It was very challenging, like, oh wow, it's only celebrities then, that would have makeup lines, or like, top celebrity makeup artists. Like, who am I then to start on this? But it was challenging, and I can go into those details if you want me to.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Yeah, it was challenging. I remember, and I don't think I've shared this story with a lot of people. One of the products that I wanted to first start out with was eyeshadow, because again, the eyeshadows that were in the market wasn't as pigmented as, I wanted it. And I finally found a manufacturer and a supplier who would work with me, and they were overseas. And, I had never done anything like that. Um, so I was able to convince them to create a sample or send me a sample, and they did. And I loved it so much. But now it was time for me to actually order it, and get MOQ, which was like a lot of money. right? And then I think PayPal was there, but then whenever you're wiring a certain amount of money, you have to do Western Union or like, something else that once it gets to the person, you don't know if you're getting your money back.
Yeah, you have
I,
no
I
idea if
remember
you're getting
I
anything in return.
exactly. I was so scared. I was like, I want to do it. There's a lot of money, but I don't know. I
I might
remember
get product,
I,
I might not.
I might not, I remember putting the palette under my pillow and I went to bed and then I prayed over it and I said, God, if this is your will, if I'm supposed to have this makeup line, like show me something, right? Show me something. And what happened? I slept. I actually had a dream. I mean, this might sound crazy to other people, but I actually had a dream that night and I saw my logo on the product, right? And it just gave me different other confirmation that was like, just do it, right? So I was like, you know what? If I perish, if I mess up, I mess up. I'll just wire the money. And lo and behold, the manufacturer came through. They did everything and they sent it. And that's what gave me my first confidence to keep going. Right. And then later on, I was like, okay, now I can, get into complexion products, because that's one of the things that I really, really wanted to do. But most of the manufacturing company that I reached out to, their MOQs were too high for me. You know, it was too high. I didn't have that, money just lying around. So I found this lady who actually was based out of, I think, New Jersey. She's an indie manufacturer. Her name was Judy, and she was making like mineral makeup, and she was willing to work with me, at my budget. She would she wasn't so used to like, creating like deeper skin tones, but she was still willing to go according to like my guidelines and stuff. She would create blushes, she would create powder makeup, she would create lip glosses. She would even create like setting spray. Like she was there for me with my budget. And that gave me more confidence, right? And I just kept going and going and going. And then of a year or so or two, Judy just went missing. I tried, I called, I don't know. And up to today, Judy, if you're watching this,
I was just going to ask, I'm like, are you still working with Judy? Because
Judy was gone. I reached out and I really hope she's okay. I reached out so many times, nothing. So that's when I decided to just go into like trendy makeup, conventional makeup, like just go all in. And I was able to like, by then I had raised a couple of funds and I was able to like work with like an actual contract manufacturer and other manufacturing to start creating the product that I really, really wanted for Omolewa Cosmetics.
I love that. I love that story. And one of the things that stood out to me actually, and you sharing that is this dream that you have, because in working with you over the years, I know that you have these visionary dreams that you then bring to life. And I want to go a little bit deeper here because you're like a master manifester, I would say. And you know what I mean? Like, I think when you envision something, whether it be in a dream or I remember working together really early on and saying, you telling me, and hopefully it's okay for me to share this story, but I remember you sharing like, I have to do all these things and I know I need to do this and that, but I really want to be able to daydream. And I remember saying like, let's put that in the schedule then. If that's something that you need, you remember that?
Yes, yes. You were like, Irene, I gave you the permission to daydream.
Because that was your process. And now, years later, I see how much of that really is your process. Like you need to be able to do that. And so I remember that. And you were like, great. Okay. I'm going to do it. Like every day I'm going to go in for a walk. I'm going to daydream. And can you shine light on this a little bit more around like what your process is in envisioning things and bringing them to life, and why do you feel like this is so effective for you?
Thank you. I think thank you so much for bringing that because for me, I guess when you and I had that conversation, I thought like daydreaming was like distraction, right? Because I get so excited about what is next, and I'm not able to like I probably go the whole day and not get enough done because I'm just sitting there daydreaming, writing things down, but putting it in a schedule and just just actually allowing myself to just do that. That for me, I feel like, as a woman of faith and, believing in God, I always ask for directions, right? And whenever I don't believe anything is a coincidence, right? Especially if I see it or if I encounter it multiple times, right? And I just go for it. Like even with the story of me starting my brand and also like, a lot of things in between, like even sometimes product that I create, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to find this money from, or I don't know where I'm going to find this manufacturer, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
You've got that power. Hmm.
Yes, I'm gonna do it. Like even going into the Ghana market, right? I went to middle school and high school here. So and I went to college here and I had not been back home in like years, right? But when I told myself that I am going into the Ghana market, I went. Like I went like I went to Nigerian market and I'd not lived in, back home. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I also grew up in Ghana. I had not gone back in years. I had forgotten how things were, but I went and I remember one of the things, I had this vision of like bringing together women as a conference, having everybody in place and teaching them how to be beautiful inside and out. And I was here planning and I was, trying to talk to people, reaching out to people to help me with the plans and stuff. And I remember one time I actually spoke with somebody and he was like, "Oh, people don't really know you here. You think you can charge this amount for people to just come and see you when they don't even know who you are." Aggie, that broke my heart. I was like, "What?" It broke my heart. I stepped back. I was like, "You know what? He's right. People don't know me. Why do I want to do that?" But I picked it right back up. Right. But just to say that sometimes when people say stuff like ignore it. Because when I finally met the person in person, he was like, "No, I didn't mean it like that." He was one of the nicest and the sweetest person that also continued to help me through the process. But imagine if I had given up then because of what he said, right? But I kept going and I remember that when I got on ground, like I had to start all the planning from scratch, but I was able to partner with the hotel, right? I was able to partner with a whole bunch of people that actually came to the event. The event was successful. I remember a few weeks before the event, I didn't even have enough people who had registered, right? But I was like, I'm still going to do it, right? But tell me why over the time I was able to actually get like banks to buy bundles of tickets for their staff. Because I pitched to them, I said, your staff need to look beautiful on the outside, but also on the inside. The more your female staffs they're looking beautiful and they're beautiful on the inside, the more money you can make, right? Because your customers will have great customer service. They will look at you. And I got all these tickets and the event was practically was sold out. And that was like one of my first ever events. So I just believe in, that level of just you hear it. It doesn't matter, a week or two to the event, how things are looking, just do it. Because, even if it's not as successful as you wanted, that might be the stage of, that will teach you that lesson to do that bigger thing. There's something called like carrier's moment, right? When that bigger thing comes, you'll be ready, right? And I can actually give an example. I don't know if you remember one time, um, I had the opportunity to pitch to Target and I only had like a few days, right? And I had never done that before. And I reached out to you. I was like, where do I start from? With Target, I had time, right? And you're like, oh, do this, do that, do that. And I had a whole bunch of time to put it together, right? But I remember that, during the pandemic and like a few years back afterwards, Sephora actually reached out to me that people had been mentioning my brand, too. But for me, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm ready for it. But I didn't. But somebody from their team reached out to me and was like, we want you to apply for this. We want to see your brand and whatever. And I only had 2 days to have my pitch ready. If I had not taken the one from Target seriously, I wouldn't have even know where to start from. Right. So I believe
The biggest lesson. It was, you know what it was? You didn't say, "Oh, I'm not ready for Target." You said, "Yes, let me get all this stuff ready for Target. Let's put it all together." You had some time for it. That might not have panned out, but then you got this other opportunity that said, "Hey, you only have 2 days." If you had not said yes to that first opportunity and done the work, it's in the action of doing that you learned and grew and were prepared for the next opportunity.
exactly, exactly. And that's exactly how I felt about the Sephora one. Within 2 days, my pitch deck and everything was ready. I was able to ship out the products to them, and that happened. So, yeah. So I guess my motto is, even if you don't know the direction or where you're going, or even if you're not like so interested in that first opportunity, or if you feel like it's overwhelming, you can't do it, just do your best. Do your part, do something, right? Because that way, when the actual moment comes, right, you have something to prove, or to show, or how to show up for it.
Absolutely. And you're not starting from scratch when the great opportunity comes.
And you're not starting from scratch, and you're not missing the actual opportunity.
Amazing. Okay. I love this lesson. And I hope everyone who's listening is saying, like, let me say yes more. And I just want to clarify that in the earlier stages of business, you want to say yes more. In the later stages of business, once you're hitting multi six, 7 figures, you want to say no more. So I think there's nuance to every lesson.
There's new ones, yes, because in the earlier stage you're learning. You're hungry. Like for me, I was actually talking to one of my mentors recently, and I was telling him like all the crazy things that I did in Ghana, how I got Jackie to become my brand ambassador, and everyone was like, "Oh, Irene, you were really hungry." Like I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, I had TV ads like twice in a day, and she was like, "Wow," because he had just met me when my business was, where it is right now, right? So it was like, I like that. You should do it again.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit more about, like, launching in Ghana, and trying to break through in that market. One of the things that was really cool when I met you, you told me how you had worked with these celebrities like Jackie Apaya. Like, how did that happen?
So people always think that, I've all, because I grew up in Ghana, like I knew Jackie and I had access to her. No, I did not know who she was. I actually wasn't watching a lot of, African movies, right? So, but people would always see me and they're like, "Oh, you look like Jackie." And I'm like, "Who is that?" So one time I remember, Google a photo of her, and I put the photo in my Facebook profile, and I just wanted to see how people will react to the photo. So some people are like, "Oh, you look so good." Some people are like, "Wait, is that you?" "Oh, you guys," I said, "Oh, okay, I guess we do look alike." But the moment that I was like, and at that point I was still thinking about going into the African market, but I felt that like I needed a strong community. I needed somebody to help me, right? But one time I went to, like, I think, there's this town called Hagerstown in Maryland. It's like far away, right? It was not far away, and I went to a store there, and there was a lady that works there. The one that was, when she was checking us out, she saw me and she started behaving like she had seen like a celebrity on Christ or something. She was like, "Oh my gosh," So I was just looking at her like, "Oh no, girl, I have not heard." I was like, "You know what? Let me even find out who the Jackie Affair lady is." And I researched about her. She didn't have any drama. She was just like such a down to earth person. So now I had to find a way to. no, I had to find a way. This is just me still doing my research here in the US. But how I reached out to her was every time I was in Ghana, anybody that I see, I'd be like, do you know how I can meet Jackie? Everywhere I go, I remember the hotel that I used to work out of, that hotel would have like a lot of prominent figures and other people would come right. And I'll just go be like, hey, do you know how? It's like I'm doing that. And I finally had the opportunity to meet with her manager. She was like, yeah, tell me your story, and then I would just keep persistent. Like every time, she would always be like, every time I see you, Omolewa, you're pregnant. Why? So one day I now found another actor who was like, oh yeah, I will connect you to her. Um, and I met Jackie. I remember her, and now we're like very, very good friends. Her and her manager was like, okay, I'm very impressed at what you're doing as an African woman. You have your own brand, but we need to test your product for like 6 months to see if we like it, you know. And then because her brand, and I understand, her brand is out there. She doesn't want to put her name or attach herself to anything that doesn't work. When I tell you within like 2 months or less, the producer reached out to me. He was like, they're in. So you have to come to Ghana. I flew to Ghana like within a few weeks after um, we started shooting ads and commercials. She became my global brand ambassador. And, thank you. She became my global brand ambassador. We did a lot of things together. We did couple of events in Ghana. We did a launch here in the US. We did another launch event in Lagos, Nigeria as well. And that was one of the things I was like, you know what? Whenever you need something, just keep being persistent, keep knocking on the door, keep pushing, right? Because I was like, I'll meet people, they're like, oh yeah, I'll help you, but they never came through, right? But I kept asking around, like I would go to like networking events or just go to like a fine dining or dinner or whatever just to meet somebody. I'm like, hey, how you can connect with this person? Like, oh, I know somebody that knows somebody, I know.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I love this. I love this so much. What a lesson to just put yourself out there. And, you're not like a super extroverted person either, so you like, it's just for everyone who's listening, who's like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. Knowing Irene, like you're not crazy extroverted.
I'm not. I'm not. I always tell people like I would stay in my house or in my office all day. I may be able to know how to talk to people, but I'm not. I'm more introvert than an extrovert. But if I need to do it for my business or do it to, I will. I will connect. I will. The worst anybody can say is no. That's the worst they can say, right? And that's fine if they say no. It just allows you to know that at least I tried. And what's next? Next, please.
What's next? Next, please. Exactly. I love that. Next, please. That's what we're naming this episode. Um,
Next, please.
yeah, we're done. Let's move on. So, actually, I do have a follow up question, Irene, because I want to clarify. So, when you did all these partnerships with Jackie, were they paid or were they free?
It was paid. It was paid. But she was so gracious and everything. She really wanted to support my business. So they did a couple of things that was just more like, listen, I'm here to support you, as a younger sister, but it was definitely paid. But at the level where she is, and I was able to, but now we are like, I can pick up the phone and be like, hey sis, you know. And we actually have a project coming up very soon, but I can't say much about it.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, I can't wait. I want to touch on that. I want to hear more about that. Would you say the fee, and you don't have to, if you want to, you can disclose it. If you don't, that's fine too. But would you say the fee was within reason of someone who is an emerging brand? That would you feel like that's within reason?
I was able to negotiate it to be within reason. And they also understood that, I was just starting up, right? And they were just so kind and understood it, I think they even offered like some type of like payment, arrangements and stuff that kind of helped me. Um, be able to like afford it. And she was just, I think at the end of the day, she was also very proud of what I was doing. And my persistent, her manager, her name is Samira, she would always be like, oh my, you
Yes, you won't stop.
you would
And
stop.
tell us, like, what were the results of that campaign? Like, all the things that you did together, what did it result in?
Yeah, so when I first entered the Ghana market, it was worth it. When I first entered the Ghana market, one of the first thing that I said was, I want Omolewa to be a household name in Ghana. And I feel like by the time when I was kind of like, trying to leave, or not leave, but like, trying to focus on the US market, it was already becoming that. Not it was Jackie wasn't even the only person that I worked with, right? I was also able to work with like TV station. Like when I went to Ghana, like Aggie, if I, you know, I achieved so much because I went in, and I think maybe because I had a deadline every time period when I went, right? Because I'll go between 3 months, 3 months here, and then come back into the US in 3 months. And I got so much done. So that was very, very helpful. I remember before, my mom would be like, "Oh, when are you coming home?" I'm like, "Listen, I'm here to do business, right?" I'm working all night. I'm looking for meetings. Like I will go to like big corporate companies like Vodafone to look for sponsorship, right? Sometimes like even Jackie would just look at me like, wait, how did you get this deal? Or like other people were like, how'd you get this deal? I'm like, I just click, I ask, I push, I batter, like I remember, yes, there was a TV network that we were working with, and we just exchange. I was like, listen, I will supply all the makeup products that you guys need for your anchors to look good. And you guys will give me an ad in return. Even people that have been, they were looking at me like, how did you get that? But I would say it's also the favor of God, because when I do stuff like that, I pray about it, right? And I didn't have to pay a dime. I just had to myself and my distributor, we just had to make sure that we were consistently supplying them with the products that they needed, right? And that was also like another form of advertisement for us, right? These anchors, TV anchors are using, our product. They have on our lipstick, they have on this and that, and I would just knock on doors. I would knock on doors. I'd be like, "Yep, sorry, go ahead."
Do you do that? Do you still do that?
I wish I still had that power. Maybe I do it in a different form, right? Because what I was doing in Ghana I had to do a lot of in-person meetings to get what I wanted, right? I still try to do that, because right now my business is virtual for the most part of it. We just now recently had an in-person store, but it's been virtual. So I feel like it's harder. Because it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna email this company and see, and then if they don't respond, you kind of like will take actions right away. Like this in person, you're not able to express yourself. So I want to say I still do that, but in different form, which I just like in person. So Ghana was much easier for me.
Yeah, you're good in person, and that's great. And luckily, thank goodness, we're past COVID, and we can more and more things are back in person. Okay, this is a really good segue. So I want to touch on two strategies that I know you're really good at. One of those being in-person events. So yes, you had your success with creating these big in-person events, in Ghana, but you also had that and brought that here in the US. And I know that you have these in-person makeup sessions, these events that you host that sell out repeatedly, and then you sell product on the back end. So not only are you selling tickets, for makeup lessons, makeup sessions, tutorials, etc., but then you're selling product on the back end. Talk to me about this. Like, I want to hear, like, how do you do this? Walk us step by step.
Yeah, so I missed, because I did a lot of that in Ghana, and even in Ghana and Nigeria, it was more like for makeup artists. But once I started the US market, my target audience shifted, right, to like just to the direct consumer, not to makeup artists. So I needed to find a way to like, get people to actually try my products. So I would host like makeup classes, right, where women can actually buy like their own package of like products. I'll test your foundation shade to make sure that it's like the correct shade, right? Or I'll just do events like pop up event, just come, have fun, eat some food and, have finger foods here and there. I would test the products. But one thing that I know that helped me with in-person events was, somebody might even just come in just my primer. But by the time I test the foundation, add the powder, add the eyeshadows, nobody walked out just buying what they came for. I am so good at upselling. I will upsell you any and everything. So by the time they leave, my average order value is high, and so those are very, very helpful. I was able to, I've had customers who have stuck with me for years, because of that, right? And they don't even have to reach out. They just go online now and just type in whatever they want and, it gets shipped to them. So, those in-person events, and now I'm excited to bring it back because now that we actually have like a studio and I have a space, excited to do more of that. Yes.
So tell me more about like the studio and the space that you brought to life, and what are you planning with it?
So the studio is more of like a content space, and also like the Omolewa Cosmetics store. So it allows me to create content and also allow people to come in and create content. I have formed a group of lady bosses where I call the Lady Boss Movement. That's like Omolewa's mission has always to be to empower women to achieve their dreams. One of the things that I learned when I was doing like the virtual makeup classes and even the in-person one was, yeah, was, when I was doing those classes was, women will come to my class and they would say, hey, I have a business, but I can't show up online because I don't know how to apply my makeup. And I can't always have a makeup artist come and do my makeup because of that, right? So I remember one year I consistently did those classes, like I think at least once or twice every quarter because I was like, this is my way of giving back, right? If I can teach women to look beautiful so that they can show up for their business, let's go. Another thing that, and I tried to make my steps so simple, right? Because I had to relearn like how to teach people to do makeup on themselves rather than teaching makeup artists to become, makeup artists, right? And sometimes I'll be on a call with these women. Yes, it's totally different. So sometimes when I'm having classes, with my with our head makeup artist, I'm like, no, let me take this because you're gonna teach them the advanced stuff, right? But I have like simple methods that are just oh, that's all you have to do is so simple, baby steps, and they get it that way. But I had to incorporate, oh yes, there'll be some other women in my calls, and they were like, I have taken care of everybody in my family. I have, but now is the time. I need to learn how to look beautiful, to feel beautiful, right? And I feel like you can help me with that. And those kind of things just made me feel like, listen, this is what Omolewa Cosmetics is all about. We're not just selling products, right? I need to help and, these women to keep going, and achieve their dreams, right? Whether, they're getting ready to retire or they're in the workforce or they have their own business and stuff like they need to look and feel good, feel confident in a certain way. So I'm ready to do more of those now. And so now I am actually, I don't know if you remember, I was supposed to do this Lady Boss conference like in 2019. I was so excited. All of a sudden, I started having cold feet. And I was like, oh, I'll do it in 2020. I'll do it in 2020. The pandemic came and I never did it. But I remember when I had that dream, or, I went for, I think within a month or two, like I had a whole plan for like a whole conference. But then somebody was like, oh, you're going to do this in like 2 months, 3 months? How's that possible? And I was like, oh, yeah, how is that possible? Let me move it to the next year. But yeah, I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. Yes. I shouldn't have listened to that, but now I'm able to bring, because now I have the space for it. I can invite these women. We can have our table talk. We can look beautiful. We can talk about business. We can talk about challenges, our struggles, like all those things. So I'm really really excited about this chapter to help like the other arm of Omolewa Cosmetics, because I really want women to wear my products, and I see that all the time, Aggie. Like, I don't know if I've told you this, but sometimes I pick up the phone and call my customers, right? Sometimes like I do. I pick up the phone and call my, sometimes, especially if I see like they've been in an abandoned cart, and I have some time like, hey, we noticed that your product is in an abandoned cart. Are you having any problems or any difficulties? And they tell me, it allows me to do a survey, like a live survey of what they actually need, right?
No, no, I just love this so much. And I want to put a pin in this because the brands that I have been interviewing, on this podcast, the ones that are doing multi six figures, multi seven figures, they're doing this. And the brands that are trying to get there are trying to automate too soon. They're trying to do the scalable too soon. And so this is such gold and this is so important, which is why I wanted to put a pause in this, that you pick up the phone with a mom of three, husband, multiple businesses. You're picking up the phone on the people who are abandoning car and getting on a call and being like, hey, what happened? What's up? Like, why didn't you buy? That's the power. That's why you see the success that you do. And the 100 to 125% growth year over year is because of stuff like this.
Yes, yes. And sometimes, sometimes I also allow my assistants to do it, but sometimes I really just want to hear from my customers, like how they feel about their products, right? And sometimes the stuff that they say, it just lets me know that my hard work has not gone in vain. Right. So picking up the call, I'm able to ask them, what else do you need? I have people, some customers like, oh, listen, I have all of your makeup products. We need skincare. And I'm like, give me some time. Give me some time. Oh, I need this, yeah.
The founder, of Bare Essentials, Leslie Blodgett.
I think so. Yes.
She came out with a book, maybe it was a couple years ago, and I remember reading it when it first came out, and she said exactly this thing. She said, every week, once a week, I give myself a couple hours just to get on the phone to call my customers. Now we're talking about like an 8, 9 figure business here at the time that she was doing this before she sold her business, getting on a call with customers. Like I love that you shared this. This is such gold.
It's a goal. You get to get a lot of stuff done within that call. And once they know that you're the founder, they're happy to hear from you. Like, wow, you called me. I'm like, yes, why should I not call you? Right? You deserve every call.
So you touched on selling through webinars. And I know that obviously during COVID, you had to pivot and for obvious reasons. And so you started doing like webinars or session classes and trainings online and then selling products off of those webinars. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what that looked like, what made them successful, for anyone that might be considering this strategy?
So one of the things that I did just to kind of help the women to just get like the whole aspect of makeup, right? I required them, or most of them, to have like at least a full kit, right? Which would also help my AOV, right? Like a full kit. And I'm going over everything that you have in your kit, right? So you're not just buying products and, you're not going to Sephora or going to any other place and buy different products. And at the end of the day, you don't know what you're using, how you're using, and what you're doing with it, right? But this one, I'm literally, hey, this is brush number one. This is how you apply it, you know, and they love that, right? And they feel like it was a good investment because it wasn't just here, buy products, right? And we'll have like our chit chat, after the classes, we'll have like a small group of women and sometimes they will network, and so I think that made it successful for me and for them as well. because they left feeling, whole. That, oh, now I know how to simply apply my eyeshadows for work. And when I want to look glamorous, I know how to, like, add a few things to look more glam, right? So that was very successful, and it makes these customers like come back, because products like foundation, if they're using it every time, they might not come back to buy the whole set, but at least they have everything, and as it's finishing up, they'll come back to get a new one, and they stick with the brand pretty much. So
You would sell them a ticket, and was the like bundle of products an upgrade or upsell, or was it part of the ticket?
it was part of the ticket. So I would sell them a full package. It comes with the products, everything, and then also, the class part was like almost next to nothing, right? So what I was really selling was the products, and then you get, a class with it, this class. There were some customers that sometimes I'll reach out to them because I already know that they have some products. So I'm like, hey, you don't even have to buy the full kit, right? You can get these other products to make it complete, and you can join my class. Like, I will reach out, and I reached out, and I'll do that. So that made my class even more full, right? Because the full kit, not everybody could afford it at that moment, right? So, go ahead.
So you would reach out to people who had recently purchased products and been like, hey, you should attend this class, or how did that work?
So I'll start out with sending emails. I'll do a video on Instagram. There was this webinar link that I used to use too, that I also used to push that. I actually never really ran ads on that. Maybe eventually later on, right? And I'll just reach out to people that I personally know, right? Even personally, and also as a customer, and be like, hey, I have this class coming. I know you have foundation, you have this and that. I'm okay to subtract that from the full price so that you can still join. They're like, yes, I need that because I don't even know. I want to get all of your other stuff, but I don't know how to use it. So from once they purchase the ticket, I call them Master Your Makeup Like a Pro. Once they purchase the ticket, I will have like a 5-10 minutes consultation with them and match their shade, let them know all their complexion products. And I will ship to them their box that has everything in there. And then they'll show up the day of the class, and I'll go over everything one by one, in terms of the brushes. We'll take, breaks in between, we'll laugh, we'll have a great time. Everybody, some people share their stories, somebody's messing up, we're all there to guide them. It's like a nice community, virtual. And yes, it was so much fun. We would do that. And then, oh, sometimes it would take about 2 hours because it just depended on, and I was excited, it just depended on how many questions they had. We also had breaks, tea breaks, in between. And one thing that also they would get was they'll have access to the recording for a lifetime. So they can always go back and, watch. And I also told them that they have access to me as their makeup mentor, right? So sometimes they'll take pictures, they're like, oh, how did I do it? I'm like, oh, you did so great. Maybe next time, you probably apply this way or that way to help them kind of like improve or go back to the video or, guide them. So that was also a good sell. And the funny thing is I'm doing that, but now like the videos are pre-recorded. But
And how much were the tickets?
so then it was like around maybe between 395 to 500, depending on the package that they got. So, and then some people, it might be less because they still have, some products. So that also really helped with my sales, because if I had like, even if it's like 6 or 7 people in the class, I've been able to, and it wasn't even just about that money at the moment, right? Is they're going to be repeat customers. Right now, they know exactly how to use. Because one thing that I don't like is customers buy my products and them not using it because they don't know what they're doing. So even when you go yep, even when you go on our website, most of the product pages have tutorials on how to do stuff, and I'm actually getting ready to even give more so that I want you to use your product. I want you to experience it, right? And I want you to use it, get comfortable, and be like, what's the next from here, right? Okay, I'm only like using concealers, but hey, if you put a little bit of setting powder on top of it, it helps it to last longer, right? Oh, now, the next step is, just put it on the spray, to make it smudge proof, to make it waterproof, like all of that stuff. So I try to convey those things on our website as well.
I love that. So tell me more about like a couple questions that I have follow-up questions. What was the attendance rate for for the people that purchased the ticket, they bought the bundle? What was that attendance rate? Do you remember?
I think some of the classes I had about like 10 people. It was between like 8 to 12. Between 8 to 12, I think. And sometimes like, because these are like, hands on. So people had to come with a package. But like some of the classes that before I would do in person, if it was a demo class, like anybody can come because the rate is very, very, So it was more of a like an investment. So, but then I did it like at least once or twice in a quarter. And knowing me, I would announce these classes so last minute because I had a lot of things going on, right? So just the announcement alone and the amount of people I was able to get in some of these classes, it was great, and all of them have stuck with the brand.
That's the huge part. But and just to clarify, like the percentage of people who bought a ticket and the percentage of people that showed up live to the webinar, the makeup class, the virtual makeup class, what was that percentage?
Oh, it was 100 because they paid their money.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's what I thought.
It was 100% because you have to pay it before before I could even ship the products to you, and they knew it was an investment. Yes, and I also gave them time to actually, like sometimes I was sending like quick videos that they can start watching before the class and stuff. So they were excited. Like, people were not yeah, they were excited. They couldn't wait and stuff. So it was 100%. If anything, maybe like one or two people, but then I was able to roll them over to the next class. But that barely happened. That barely happened.
And then tell me, I'm from like a tech side. How did you, for people who you knew already had like a bunch of the products, maybe how are they, what kind of ticket were they buying? Because they weren't buying the full set. So like, I'm trying to understand like what was the tech behind sending them a ticket that had like they were getting just some of the products.
So what I would do is sometimes I would go inside my email and segment it and see, some people who already have like most of my products, but they've never, I kind of feel like they would want to be a part of the class, but they might not want to still go back and, buy a whole kit. Right. So with that segmented list, I would message them and say, hey, if you're interested in a class, you don't have to buy the full package. Right. Just let us know what you need and we'll send you a ticket for you to pay for. And then they were always so grateful because I just didn't think it was fair for me to have them buy everything. But I knew deep down that they wanted to be a part of the class. I've also had, I think a couple in-person classes, maybe virtual. They're like, oh, girl, the package is so good that I will always need foundation. So let me just buy the full package. I would always need this product, so they will still buy the full package while they're still, using their other ones.
Right. Yeah. And so you would send them like a custom checkout, basically.
Yes, exactly. I'll send them like a custom invoice. And yeah, those customers, they were so funny. They're like, yeah, I I'll keep, one would be like my car makeup, my travel makeup kit, and then this would be like my office kit.
I love that. Okay, that what that speaks to. There's so many customers that they have every product is from a different brand. I mean, I know for me, like every single product is from a different brand. Like I have my makeup kit right here in front of me. So the fact that you're having your customers not only want the entire Omolewa collection, but they want it for multiple locations, I think is a huge testament to how good the products are, but also their loyalty to the brand. Would you say so?
I would say that, and I think that's one of the stuff that's helped my brand grow. I have a lot of loyal customers, and I think it's I don't even know like the brand, the product, the brand messaging. How I'm very careful about like customer service, like being there for my customers. Like Aggie, anything that I launch, people are gonna buy it. It might not be sold out on launch day, but recently me and my um project manager were going over like my back end to see like, okay, what product should we cut off and whatever. But while some products are doing better than others, like I don't have like any specific products that are struggling, that are not moving, right? Yes, and that's because I've built my brand and my product, my is a system. Most of my products are systems, right? You need this with this to make it even better, right? Hey, why are you just buying one? Why are you buying one lipstick, right? You can buy three and get 15% off, but here you can use those three to create an ombre lip, right? Like nothing go to waste, right? You nothing goes to waste. So I've seen that over time that most of my customers end up sticking with, you know, my product. Sometimes people even reach out to me and be like, "Hey, do you have this? I've seen." I remember it took a while before like I came up with my setting spray. Like, "Oh, do you have that thing that people like?" Especially like my older audience, that spray. Like, what does it even do? Do you have that? Right? And I'm like, not yet. They're like, oh, when are you coming up with one? Or they'll ask me, when are you doing this? When are you bringing this? When are you bringing that? Right. I think my messaging and also my products, also um, connect with them, right? Because I'm not just promoting a lipstick, I'm promoting a lipstick that when you wear, you feel like a visionary, right? You feel like a mogul. If you're a business person and you're signing a contract, deep down, like today, let me wear this lipstick, money magnet, right? And it's not just that. So I think, one thing that I'm always so grateful, right? Because I do a lot of Facebook ads, right? And myself or my sister, we're not always able to like manage like the comment sections, right? Can I tell you that sometimes I go into the comment sections and people are asking questions that we didn't even answer. My customers, loyal customers will go in there and be like, oh no, this is how you use this. Oh, by the way, when you get this, you should get this one too. Oh, I've had this. They are answering the question. How some people are like, oh, has anybody here tried this product before? Is it real? And I have three. They'll put their pictures, their videos, like in the comment section. And I'm just like, wow, but I tell people, it's on Instagram, but where my core customers are in my email marketing, and they show up. They show up.
Irene, I have so many more questions, but I know we're kind of running short on time. How have you built such a loyal community? Like, what's the secret in your perspective, from your perspective?
I think our emails, I don't just only send emails. And I think those are some of the things you're the one that taught me how to do that, right? Don't just send emails about, sell, 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 right? Add a story to it. Let them feel it, let them feel the product, in a certain way, right? So I do that a lot. I think also like trying to connect with them, right? Like if I see that, customer is having an issue with a product, if my assistant doesn't call, like I will personally call them and say, what is the problem? We're here to help you, right? Great customer service. Um, um, every time I get to speak to somebody, even via email or in person or over the phone, it's a teachable moment for me. Like I'm ready to teach them something. Hey, by the way, have you tried our primer before? Like I leave teaching them something.
Oh, I love that. I leave teaching them something.
Yes, giving them a tip. So that's helped with our email market. But one thing that's also been so great is people usually start with our lipstick. Most customers, because I would do like funny ads, I'll be myself and, I'll do an ad like I'm eating like African food. I pour water all over my face just to show that my makeup stayed put. For a long time, I'd be like, for like you said, a lot of people think that I'm extrovert, but when it comes to this, like, they're like, especially my friends, they're like, did I just see you? And to be fun, right? So I try to do a lot of fun stuff, that will get them in the door, right? Try the lipstick because some people are like, oh, what kind of lipstick is this that you can eat, drink, and it's not, is this even true, right? And that's like what $21 investment, right? So I feel like we're like, okay, let me just try with that. And once they try it, or they buy like the set of three, and they know that this is actually working. What is next? What is the next thing that I can try? And I also have automated emails, right? Guiding them the step on, thank you for getting this, um, and guiding them through what our other products can do. So they will now come back and try, hey, maybe like a primer. The primer, do you also have oily skin? You need a mattifier. One of the products that the system I created, like smudge proof system, where I put like 3 to 5 products together for your skin type, and these are the products that you use to prep and set your makeup. And just having those 3 or 5 items depending on your skin tone will allow your makeup to look so beautiful, so natural, and will still last all day. And I have, really gone deep and honed in on our, all day wear makeup, and they're loving it. They love it. And lately, the messages I've been getting, through our text or email, like, I have been an oily skin girl for years. Nothing has worked. I've tried, Armani, I've tried, high end brands. Nothing has worked, but your product worked for me. Right. And some of the things that I do is I also combine because I let them know that, okay, maybe just this one product might not work by itself the way it's supposed, like maybe this product would take you for like 6 hours, right? But by adding this to it, it would take you to like 10, 12 hours, right? And they're like, oh, I'd rather do everything in the morning than touch up during the day. So let me have both. Let me have three. Let me have the steps so that at least I can achieve that. And most of our cards have videos where like our smudge proof system, you get the card and you can text a certain number and then you automatically get a video on how to achieve like all day smudge proof makeup system. So those have also been helping without me actually having to like do a lot of like stepping in. I still do when I have to, or even when I have extra time, right? But customers have been, but
That's incredible. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us, Irene. Um, ads, you're a baller with ads. You even did a training inside our mastermind on ads. Um, yeah, it was just so good. And are ads still working for you? And what do you see working for you right now?
ads are still working. Last year I had to kind of pause on my ads because I was rebuilding my website, and I had like well, not last year, towards the end of last year. Let me say that. And I had a lot of like things that needed to be fixed and stuff. So that was kind of like messing up with my optimization, right? Because Facebook ads sometimes you're optimized to a certain level, and if you switch your theme and you for my websites, I don't know about other people, when things you keep touching a lot of things on the back end, it totally like screw up your whole entire optimization. So I was like, why spend money when things are not well? So I took up a break. So I'm just now starting back. But of course, I had to find another way to make the money and things work, right? So, but I'm excited to get back into doing a lot more ads. I mean, I still was spending, but I wasn't spending as much as I.
Yeah, you weren't doing it intentionally. You were just kind of letting it run. I get it. Like you weren't tweaking it and making updates and adding new ads. I get it.
I was just, I had like a small budget and just run and just do your thing. I've met people. Yeah. I've met people in person. I mean, now, I've been doing a lot of like in person events or going networking and doing stuff. But like, how much is your ad budget? Because you're following me all the time.
Wow, how funny. And it's like, no, it's not a lot. It's just that you're really good at targeting.
Yes. People are like, you're following me like everywhere I go, or I'll see people, in Maryland here. They're like, wait, you look familiar. You look, and I'm like, oh, really? I don't know. They're like, no.
Oh, how funny. Yeah, 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 yeah. People start to recognize you. And your emails, like you mentioned, you touched on your emails, but you had shared with me, and this isn't even recently, this is ongoing, that every single email you send, you get sales.
Yes, I get sales from my email. I get sales from my email, and at some point, like I mean, I have a social media manager now, but I was like, I'm not wasting, but once I'm not wasting my time on Instagram. Yes, you still get that. I think like you always say, like your Instagram is like your magazine, like the cover of your magazine, right? And everything else is you have to do other stuff in the back end to make everything work, right? So yes, I still, but for emails, I always have some type of conversion.
Yeah, I mean, I get your
Everything else,
emails, and
yeah.
Irene is the consistency queen when it comes to emails. Obviously your team is supporting you with that, but in the beginning you were doing them yourself, and she just, I mean, they keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming, and they're working.
Once you see what's working, you don't
You
stop.
keep
You
doing
keep
it. You don't
going,
stop.
right? Because even when you're not, when I'm not running ads and when I don't have like, a lot of new customers coming in, I can still target people that are already in my pool with something else, right? So emails would, I mean, people want to replenish, I have like, hey, replenish 50% off, come back.
Yes, but you're not sending sales all the time, which is so important to remember. No, too.
I'm not sending stills all the time. I'm not sending stills all the time. I'm sharing stories. I'm sharing, different things. And, like there's always something, even if it's a sentence or two to empower whoever is reading the email, right? Which eventually, it would, allow them to purchase something. And I feel like emails remind customers because I'm sometimes like the way people just sales just come in after emails is like, okay, that this person had in mind to buy something, but they needed that email
100%.
to remind them to be like,
Remind
oh
them.
yes, I need to get this thing, right? And it might not even be on sale, right? Because I don't do that much sales, and I feel like my customers get that. Sometimes even when I do sell, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking this gonna be having a lot of change, and then it's not coming in as but it can just be a regular email, show my appreciation, how I'm grateful with it to them or how to use this specific product, right? And they just by the fact that they know, like I think recently I sent an email about New Year. These are some of the products that you should our New Year must have. And once I saw the sales that came in were those products that we suggested.
They trust you. Your community trusts you.
Right. Exactly. So, email has been doing good.
Okay. So closing out, what's one thing that you wish you'd told your younger self? Maybe now that you've been in business with Omolewa for 10 years internationally, 5 years in the US, what's one advice you would give yourself? And also, it's the same advice you might give to our audience, our founders that are listening.
Um, Even when it seemed like things are not working, right? Don't give up. Don't give up because and don't try to start perfect. Just do it. Don't try to start perfect. I think it was one of your meetings that we started talking about lazy lunch, right? Like lazy lunch of new products because before I would just wait to have everything, before I launch a new product. And I was like, my audience just want to see what I have. I mean, it's good to still look professional or whatever, but you don't have to be perfect to start. You don't have to be perfect to just start. Just start right now. and keep going, because I remember I kept trying to make things perfect and find the right time to even go into the Ghana market, right? The time that I actually got to go, I didn't think was possible, because that year, one year, I was like, I'm going, right? And then I got pregnant and I was like, oh Lord. And I remember my doctor saying, oh, you can't go, because, mosquitoes and stuff. I'm like, girl, you know, but that was the year I was like, I have to go. I put this thing off like 2, 3 years now. No, nothing is stopping me. My baby is going to be okay. I'm going. And I feel like, honestly, being pregnant and doing all that crazy stuff also gave me a lot of favor, because people would
Uh-huh.
see me like, this
That's
pregnant
true.
woman, you're still working.
Yes, that's so true.
You're still working.
Hmm.
I remember like girls something that Jackie Appiah and her manager like, Omolewa, you are always pregnant. When is the next baby coming, right? But if I had waited to be like, oh, let me finish having the babies first to go back, it wouldn't have happened then, right? So just
1,000%. I don't. Yeah, I 1,000%. I was going to share a personal story, but I think maybe another time. We need to have you back on. Like, there's so much more. There are so many more questions I have. There's so much. We've touched the surface, and we've touched the surface, and I want to leave with one or two more questions, which is, what's the bestseller? And I want people to know, like, where can they find you? Where can they find your products? So what's the bestseller?
yeah, so our bestseller is our limitless liquid lipstick. They stay on all day. You can eat, drink, kiss, and they'll still stay put. Right? They don't feel drying on the lips, but they are matte lipsticks. And we recently also introduced a metallic version, which people are also loving it. Our setting sprays have also been a bestseller. Most setting spray, have like that strong scent, whatever, but our setting spray has hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, so it's also good for your skin, and it also serves as like a setting and a finishing spray. So it's giving you waterproof but skin like. But so those have been our bestseller, and recently the Without Feel palette. So I feel like I have a lot of bestsellers, but when it comes to even the lipstick, right? There are some colors that sells like crazier than others. So I'll say yes, limitless liquid lipsticks, our smudge proof system, or the sprays by themselves, and our eyeshadow.
So good. And where can they buy them? Where can people buy them, find them?
Omolewamakeup.com, which is OMOLEWA makeup.com. I think we also have omolewacosmetics.com.
The physical location, where's that?
The physical location is in Bethesda, Maryland, North Bethesda, 5056, Suite A, Nicholson Lane, Bethesda, North Bethesda, Maryland.
I'm coming next time I'm in Maryland, because I usually try to go like once a year, but my husband's family is in Baltimore. So I think we were there last year for like Easter time. So I'll have to come by, if either on the way there or on the way home. I'll have to come by the store, and yes. Are you there physically at the store, or do you have your like sales staff?
Right now I am doing, yes, I'm actually establishing like more of office hours. Um, because I still want to focus, we're still doing e-commerce, right? And then it's still very, very new, and having a physical location is so new to me. So I don't want to just start out being there all the time, but have some office hours, see how things are going, and just take it up to the next process. But still learning, still putting things together.
I'm happy to share with you my thoughts on that too. Like, just because we had our store in Brooklyn, so maybe we'll connect, and maybe I could share some things with you.
That would be awesome, because I'm excited about that. And, women, the few people that have come in when we did our grand open, it was fire. But I'm just now finished my office hours, so I'm getting ready to announce it and just get people to start coming in. But I do get message, when are you coming in? When are you opening? What are you? I'm like, that was a grand opening, but I had to take holiday break, Christmas, family, all of that stuff. So now this January, we are going to have our official office hours.
But Irene, it was always a pleasure. You bring the most beautiful energy to the room, clearly because your community loves you. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on this podcast. Thank you for sharing all these golden nuggets that you shared with our community. And like I said, I wasn't kidding. We need to have a follow-up because there's so much more that I want to go deeper on. Yeah.
Anything for you, Aggie. Let me know and I will show up. And thank you also for having me. I'm really excited about this, podcast. This is so great. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thanks, lady. So thanks everybody. Here's to another episode of Beauty and the Brand podcast. If you love this episode, leave us a review. We read every single one. We appreciate every single one. Go check out Omolewa Cosmetics, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.